Obsessive compulsive. What is obsessive compulsive personality disorder?
Obsessive compulsive personality disorder is characterized by a need for intense orderliness, perfectionism, and control at the expense of flexibility and openness, as well as efficiency. Now, this is to be differentiated very clearly from obsessive compulsive disorder, which is, I think, the more sexy of the two. This is the one that gets all the press, in movies and magazines and things. So obsessive compulsive personality disorder is also known as the anal character. These are people who have to have everything very neat and tidy, However, obsessive compulsive disorder is one in which is characterized by all the rituals. This is the counting things and the hand washing. They are not the same at all, nor do they predispose one for the other.
What are the signs of obsessive compulsive personality disorder?
People with obsessive compulsive personality disorder are preoccupied with making lists, details, following the rules. They're over-conscientious and judgmental. They're very rigid. They're not able, if things change suddenly, they're not able to switch horses quickly. Their preoccupation with detail can sometimes paralyze them to the point where they're unable to make decisions or get things moving along. They're not able to delegate work to other people because no one else is going to do it as perfectly and as wonderfully as they are. So they are very, in a nutshell, this is someone who's tight. They're kind of cold, stubborn. They don't hold on to stuff. They don't throw stuff away very easily, even if it doesn't have much meaning to them. These patients are very miserly. In other words, they're not generous individuals. For example, if 6 of you go out to dinner, instead of just going, oh, hey, let's just split the bill 6 ways, they'll actually calculate down to the penny what they owe and then give you exactly that and not 1 cent more.
What causes obsessive compulsive personality disorder?
There isn't a clearly identified cause. One of the things that this has been linked to, at least in the psychoanalytic literature, as I mentioned before, is this is called the anal character. So since it tends to be, these people tend to be very controlling or feel a great need to try to control things, there has been some suggestion that it's linked to, by virtue of it being called the anal character, potty training, So the idea that they're not going to give in to mother's wishes, for them to go to the bathroom on their own.
What are the dangers of obsessive compulsive personality disorder?
I think, in terms of your interpersonal relationships, they're going to be very stilted. You're not a warm, affectionate individual. You're concerned about rules to the point where you lose track of the activity. You're not going to be a lot of fun to hang out with. And I think that from an occupational standpoint, you will make your coworkers crazy because you won't delegate work. You're very indecisive. You're the only one who can do things. You insist on perfectionism. And so whether you're the supervisor or someone, has to work under you, I think it'd be very difficult to work with you.
Who is at risk for obsessive compulsive personality disorder?
Men appear to be more affected than women. Again, to the degree that there may be developmental factors, as I discussed previously, that may put you at risk. When I've given this lecture before to medical students, they all ran home and asked their mothers about whether they were easy to potty train or not. We don't really know if that has anything to do with the development of the disorder, though.
What are the treatments for obsessive compulsive personality disorder?
People with OCPD tend to become depressed, particularly when things, get difficult. So again, if they meet criteria for mood or anxiety disorders, they should definitely be treated in the standard fashion. Other than that, I think it's insight-oriented psychotherapy, a way of letting them see that it's actually their behavior that's linked to some of the problems that they're having in their life, and trying to get them to open up a little more emotionally, perhaps be less rigid and inflexible.